But the other piece is, so how are institutional investors and traditional finance considering Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? So, okay, so just as something to buy on Coinbase to speculate, or is it really at least starting to be considered as an asset class that you can just put a percentage of your portfolio in, and maybe that will lead the way into DeFi, or is that like still not even kind of a consideration, like crypto as a new asset class?
It's not a consideration yet. There's too many rules around traditional finance that will not allow them to, even speculate in Coinbase, which is why you keep hearing for all these calls about Bitcoin ETFs and the Grayscale Trust, MicroStrategies or as another option as well too. And even those, it's all about Bitcoin. Is really what it is. When you start getting into explaining stable coins to them and explaining borrowing and lending, and hey, go look at Aave, go look at Compound, and go look at what they're doing in the traditional financial space, eyes glaze over. They've never heard these phrases as well. So they can't really push their customers into it unless a regulated traditional financial structure comes into place that allows that. And the only ones that there are really out there are Bitcoin ones. Michael Saylor is buying Bitcoin for MicroStrategies. And so he's not playing in any of the tokens for the DeFi exchanges yet. Elon Musk has only bought Bitcoin as well too. Square is only really talking about Bitcoin. MasterCard is only really talking about Bitcoin. Now, unless you update me on something else, I'm not hearing them talk about stable coins or any of the other things that people can do with a lot of this money. So it leaves people the impression that the crypto universe is like three currencies. It's like it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum, and shitcoins. And then you just speculate on whether or not they're going to go up or down. And that's where I think that everybody really struggles because they're not aware. They're not aware. So they might do it in their personal accounts, but they definitely can't if you're a traditional money manager, if you're a traditional mutual fund manager, you can't do it in those accounts. You can't even get, the Winklevi twins can't even get an ETF pushed over the finish line.
Right.
As well too. That would bring it to the masses. Galaxy is another way that they're trying to bring it to the masses as well too, but that's just one person that's really trying to push it as well.
Yeah. But at the same time, a couple of years ago, this wasn't even happening with Bitcoin, right? So maybe you can say Bitcoin in institutions and in big public companies is the first step that will lead to them eventually getting into Ethereum and discovering what DeFi is all about, and that there's actual kind of utility in these protocols beyond speculating.
Yeah, I definitely think so, because I definitely believe the idea that Bitcoin will be the store of value. It will take the role of gold has in the current CeFi system as well. And if I could, the people I detest the most are the Bitcoin maximalists that think that, everything else has to go to zero and all you need is Bitcoin. The day you're right, everything else goes to zero is the day your $54,000 Bitcoin is worth $3, because Bitcoin cannot survive without DeFi and DeFi needs Bitcoin. They both need each other right now. So it is a good way to get them involved into the system by playing Bitcoin. The other problem I think that they have right now is once they start meandering into the DeFi world, the dozen or so that I've been, trying to say, hey, look at this. And they're like, holy crap, look at these gas fees. Are you kidding me? I thought this was supposed to be more efficient. They're like, oh, yeah, don't worry. EIP 1559 and the Ethereum 2 is coming. That will be taken care of over time. And what I try to, counsel them on is look at the potential. Don't get hung up on the immediate problems that it has. they will get worked out over time. I'm sure that, when you looked at version 1.0 of Snapchat or 1.0 of Uber, you would have said, this is a buggy piece of crap. It's not usable. But look at the potential of what it could be and not what it is at this moment. These problems will get solved. And these gas fee problems will get solved over time as well, too.
100%. I think, I mean, a good analogy is looking at just at the internet itself. I think we all can remember dialing up to plug into the internet and hearing kind of the dial tone and how slow it was to just load one picture. Yeah. And now, like, you're scrolling through Instagram seamlessly. Like, who would have imagined that sort of progress? And I think that's kind of the stage we're at with Ethereum and this kind of decentralized ledger-based finance. We're kind of at the very, very early stages. So 100% agree, kind of.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you see the potential, I think what you will definitely see is not just cost savings, but exponential cost savings that could come from this new DeFi system. And I might even add to, most of my client base is traditional money managers. They're looking to generate alpha. So they're looking to outperform some kind of an index. And they ask me for opinions about where to exploit opportunities. Mm-hmm. And it is really difficult in the current financial system to generate any kind of alpha because the system has gotten so efficient and is so hamstrung. That's why in the traditional space, everybody keeps moving their money towards ETFs and low-cost index funds and the like. And there's a few exceptions to that, Cathie Wood at ARK being the big one right now. But I said, in the new DeFi world, if you get in there early, there's going to be tremendous alpha opportunities for a traditional manager who's just looking to exploit opportunities to make money, where it's very difficult. If you're in the business of maybe I'll invest in healthcare stocks this week and consumer product stocks next week, and maybe rotate over to financials and back to technology, man, almost nobody makes actually, almost nobody adds anything above the index that's doing that. But in the DeFi world, I think for the next several years, if you can get involved with that space, there's going to be all kind of opportunities for traditional managers just to basically understand what's going on and basically say, this is not going to make it, this is going to make it. Let's all go over here and buy these tokens. Let's avoid these tokens over time, but so you can really make your mark in this space as it moves forward.
That's a great point. And are your clients, are any of them starting to experiment in that space, or at least asking about it?
Yes, and let me be blunt about my clients. Mm-hmm. I love them all. Thank you very much. First of all, but let me put them into two broad categories: younger and older. And I see this with all technology. The younger crowd is more adept to want to play on it. Let's call them under 45, maybe under 50. They definitely want to take a look at what's going on in this space. Maybe they'll play with it in a personal account or something like that. The over 45 crowd or the over 50 crowd, especially the over 60 crowd. And unfortunately, over 60 crowd is usually the senior managers. They all play the same game, is that they've done with every disruptive technology. Yeah, maybe this is coming. Yeah, maybe this is going to change the world. Yeah, maybe this is going to disrupt my business line or my business model or me personally. But I'm 61. My bet is this is 5 years away. And I'll just ride it out to 65, take my gold watch in retirement and walk away. And I've always got the same answer for them every time. You ain't going to make it. You ain't going to make it. It's going to come on you a lot faster than you think. And the disruption is going to be a lot worse than you think. If you think that I'm just too old and too set in my ways to just, let it ride out. There was a bunch of 60-year-old taxi drivers that said, yeah, it is this ride-sharing thing is coming. But I got a couple of more years behind this wheel, and I'll get a little bit more regulated taxi money, and then I'll retire. And the next thing they know is no one's hailing them for a ride. and their taxi token is worth nothing. And so they waited too long or they refused. And you see that all the time. The older crowd, and it's just not my customers, but it's older crowds in general with any disruption. They all want to play beat the clock. Yeah, I get it. It's coming, but I can milk this current way that I do business for another 5 more years and then just walk away. And it's the guys behind me, it's their problem. Well, the guys behind you are figuring out how to deal with it. You're the impediment. And that's the hardest part to go about, is to teach somebody something that's been in a business for 25 years or 30 years, doing something a certain way, and saying, you got to open your mind that maybe the way that you've been doing it needs to change. And it needs to change sooner than you think. And dragging your feet is not the answer.